Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Cang-Toys Pterhowl. This is a very stylized version of a G1-esque Swoop, and it's a very different take on Swoop. So there's no other Swoop out there quite like this. Now, they do a lot of extras, a lot of interesting stuff with these releases, and with that, I did get this from Shozy Store. Now, I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours. Remember, TH in the reviewer code. Also, Shozy Store today put up the Magic Square Masterpiece Onslaught for order. I think they skipped pre-order straight to order, so that thing should be shipping pretty soon if you want to get in on that. And this is the fastest way I can get that information out to you. But anyway, let's get into taking a look at this Cang-Toys Swoop Pterhowl coming up. Alright, here's how it comes packaged. It has this, I guess you call it a slip cover kind of top of the box. And it's got some reflectiveness, some glossiness to it. And then inside they've got the foam. You slide that cover off. You got the inside there. Interesting box, interesting packaging. Packed really well. Plus you've got this nice big picture. And the instructions and cards. Alright, here he is out of the box, and I want to say a couple things. First of all, I always like the paint on this guy. It looks good. They always do a great job with paint. The really tiny letters and numbers and tampograph that they have going on with them is fantastic. It does shine, it does gleam. There is a little bit of fiddle factor for weight distribution, not because of anything that has to do with quality, because it's very high quality. It's the weight distribution is because the wings are massively heavy. They are way heavier than any other Swoop wings that are out there. I kind of thought there'd be a way to use the wings to stabilize. So you got to kind of have them sort of level like this. You don't want them sitting too far back to get the weight distribution proper. And then he'll stand pretty solid. But if you don't have them lined properly or a good weight distribution, then he will be a little bit back heavy, but still, with all this, pretty interesting looking figure overall. And I do like a couple things. So I'm going to show a couple nods to the G1. Has this beak right here, and the beak has a clear covering plastic overlay, kind of like they did with Dinobots back in the day, especially with Swoop. And that is kind of cool to have that because the top part of the beak for Swoop is clear, so I kind of like that. It's interesting that they included that, but I wish the beak would have been able to sit more flush. It's not part of their styles. The angles that they have going on is kind of how they worked with all this. Appears to be like a hinge or something, but it does not hinge down at the right point to go downward. But that is a design cue that they took. It does have quite a bit like silver, gold, something on the crotch there, gold spiky stuff here. And these have a clear cover to it also. And a lot of the other Dinobots, I don't even think the light's picking that up. A lot of the other Dinobots have other parts that have that clear overlay cover over it too. So that's kind of cool. Is this clear? No, maybe this is just a slightly different color of gold. So two different gold tones to it. So that's interesting also. Anyway, still some cool stuff that they have going on with it. And then also as I mentioned it before, the tampograph on it is just wild. It's wild how tiny they get this writing. And I don't even know if I'm going to be able to pick it up to read it, but tiny, like all that. It's like a paragraph going on right there on the wing. And then like some writing right here on the shoulder piece. So really, really interesting. As if this is like a giant mech that was created. You see stuff like this in Robotech and all of that, but really interesting to have it on a Swoop. So we're going to get into its accessories because we can, and I want to say it's interesting because you got two swords, so you can dual wield swords, do it however he wants, and I'm sure with these tabs he plugs into places, and then with the handle it plugs into places. But generally there's a slot, and he has a tab in his hand, and those will hold it in. It holds it in partially, but the rest of it is going to be friction from that. These do some things like combine, and then you can put it back into his hand if you wanted to, and it would make it for from this angle, I'm gonna have trouble getting it tabbed in right, but you can do that, and he can have an extra large double blade going on there. Then also, he has a gun, and the reason it's folded up because it has a hole there, it can connect to other ports and stuff. So he's got that gun right there. That's cool. And there's a few things you can do with it. I mean, you can probably see it from here, but there's tabs on the back, and you can tab this in to here as kind of like a shoulder cannon, and do this number. You can do that with the other one also, kind of showcasing that from the back, and then showcasing it from the front, and then to save some time, here is with some shoulder cannons, if that's a thing that you want to do. And of course, as you're messing with the weight distribution, make sure he is distributed well, that it works, and then he'll be able to have that. Now, getting back into these guys, you can separate them, and we can slide them into the wings. And in order to get the wing around, you gotta kind of configure it in sort of this fashion here, so that you can access this spot to put that, and always remembering to keep it orientated. And I believe you want it like reds up. Let's get red up, and then plug it in. And mine doesn't go so deep. I feel like it should go deeper than that, but I'm not going to display it like this. It's just an option. I'm sure you have to mess with it to get it to go a little bit deeper. But there he is, armored up with his extra gear on him. He can either hold it, or he can mount it like this, make it look quite amazing, quite impressive. It's just interesting how they have the extra stuff like that. And then one more accessory. He has kind of like a bug hand. This is his hand, and you can do this with it if you want to, into a bug configuration. And it's strange. It's got this little locking mechanism here. Not exactly sure how it worked. I unlocked it, and there it is. It's locked for whatever reason. Then you can unlock it, and then you can fold this up and have it like this. So that's interesting. I actually like it better like this. But it's kind of a cool little thing that they have going on with it. So you can have the hand turn into a bug if you want it to, or you can have your hand be a hand, and then as a hand, it's kind of impressive. It's kind of an impressive little hand that he's got going on here, with all the individual fingers and stuff that it can do. Gripping. All right, for articulation, I'm going to have to maneuver a few things here, but here is the head. It's on a ball joint. Does kind of everything you'd expect. Little on the loose side. Beak does what the beak does. Wings, you have an articulation point. It's very, very tight, but you can go pretty far back, forward. We'll see more of it in the bot mode, but that's kind of as far as it extends. 1, 2. These are all double jointed. Every one of the wing joints is double jointed, but for the sake of keeping it standing, I'm going to tuck that in for now, but get it out of the way. All right, shoulders go up and down, and this is very like loosely holding in place, and then you have the shoulder joint there also. So a lot of range in that shoulder, probably too much, but I mean, it does a lot in the transformation too. You can go out to here, so a little bit past the 90 on the shoulder. Let's see if I can just get these positioned to, help me here instead of work against me. Working with me instead of against me. All right. And then we have bicep swivel right here, double jointed on the elbow, and then the hands individually articulated on the fingers and all of that. So pretty much what you need. And it can kind of go out. And I'm not sure how well the camera's picking that up. Anyway, waist swivel, ab crunch, ratcheted ab crunch. You know what? I bet you with enough work, he can hold all that up on his own. But I'm not ready to do all that right now. Let's get into legs. He's got these giant things on the side here. So his legs go about out to the 90. Back, it's all heavily ratcheted. Back almost to 90. There's just kibble in the way. If there wasn't kibble in the way, it would go further, I'm sure. The joint itself is not the problem. And I'm actually using the wings to hold them up right now, which is very helpful to adjust the camera. thigh swivel on, it's kind of a universal joint of the hip there. Then we have the knee. It's got a little knee piece down here, so you can go to a point and not even notice the knee, but after you've gone too far, you do kind of notice the knee. And it looks like it would be double jointed, like this should come along for the ride, but it's tight. So it's double joint, so you can go as far as you want. You don't need it, but to keep the look to like a knee filler, you've got it. And then the foot side to side, very, very strong and tight, like it needs to be, because it is extremely heavy. But there goes, it's a lot of work, articulation. All right, first some comparisons. I'm going to compare him to Gigapower Swoop. He is actually shorter than Gigapower Swoop. Now he's probably overall heavier because there's just so much with the wings and all that that's going on, but it is shorter than the Gigapower Swoop. And if you ever saw my Super Raider video when I did a little fun short in there, I might upload that short of Gigapowers just showing off with these light up swords. This day and age, you really do need to include a measuring stick, which is pretty much any Masterpiece Optimus Prime for size and scale. So it's still bigger than a Masterpiece Prime, which I think a Dinobot should be a little bigger than Prime, and so that works for scale. I actually kind of like the Gigapower scaling with G1. Thing is, it still combines and it turns into an arm and all that kind of stuff. So it is going to be a little bit different on scaling if you think about it like that. And just because I can deal with this right now, this is X-Transbots, Ultra Magnus, size and scale. Yeah, I'm always curious. You never know what this guy's going to say. But he is a little shorter, but still very, very beefy with all the stuff that's going on. And yeah, matching up to Ultra Magnus. Time for the good old transformation. So we're going to get into some fun stuff here. His head's going to flip around, and it's going to tab in to this, like so. So we're going to lift this up, kind of fold this out, open this piece here up, make room. We're making the neck, and then this is going to fold up and over. There's the neck piece. And then you're going to come on down with this, tab the neck into the slot, and then secure it. So we've got the neck for the most part. Then we're going to come around here to the back. We're going to flip this around, and this is all going to tab in like so. So we've got a swoop, swoop head, swoop neck. Next we have a strange situation with the arms, which it's interesting. It's they definitely went completely different on everything that they do. That's just how they go. But we're going to open all this up, slide it, and condense it in. We need to get the shoulder pad out the way so we can get this in, and then it will reconnect. This is something they do in almost every one, where it kind of locks in place here. Now it locks in place here, and then it's still. Remember, it's still very back heavy. We're turning this into like a backpack. And if I get the light right, we are going to fold this all up, keep the hand flat. Okay, the thumb's on a ball joint. I've got a better angle of this here to get it in. My thumb popped off, but this folds in and just kind of lays right there, which is nice. And then we bring this up, and we're going to, I guess, get the wing out of the way to get it around there. Up and over, and it's very tightly ratcheted, and then we can get the wing up here. And what this is basically doing is turning into a backpack. As you can see, it is going to tab in, so we got to get this just right to tab in with this slot right here. And then once it's tabbed in, do I have it in the right slot? Once we get this bad boy positioned, there it is. But it's not down enough. There, it's getting close. There, it's tabbed in. Oh, it's tabbed in, and it's got to want to stay. Then you're going to flip this around, and you're going to line up the gold with the gold. Go for the gold. Let me tell you, the second one's going to be so much easier to do off camera. All right, so a couple things. First off, this wasn't tabbing in. I didn't fold that in, so now that will tab in properly. With that folded in, and we flip it around, and we're going to be looking at it from a different angle now because we're going to be doing some leg work. There's the tail. So we're going to get the tail sort of out of the way. All right. So we're going to rotate around the foot, and then rotate around the leg like so. And then we have some work to do here. Unhooking this and then slotting it in. It's changing the form factor, but it's also going to change as we do this. We're going to be changing the size. This is more of a form factor there, and then down here we're going to condense it down with the size. So that's just the way it is. Let's lift this up in atoms and get it up so it, yeah, we got to get it in there. And this is more work than it looks like it should be to get it there. I'm going to lift it up here and get a look at kind of how it looks. So this is sort of afterwards and before, so you can see the difference in it. Come back around here to the back. This needs to tab in to that. That wing's just getting everything. And do the same thing to the other side of the leg, the other leg. So I got about like this. We want to spread the toes, and there it is for some legs. And then we got to flip around to the back, and we're going to mess around with the tail and kind of configure a tail out of this thing. So we got all of this sort of just get it close together, but I think you want these. They don't really tab in. You can add some fins up here, but not really any tab. It looks like it should tab in, but it doesn't really. So you can, I don't know, it just feels like you can do a few things with it to give them a tail. But I don't know. It's one of those things that I feel like this should have some sort of level of tabbing and not ball falling off. And lastly, you can do some stuff with these claws. Get them positioned however you would like, or I would like. I think I like it like that. I like it like that. And let's get it up. And atoms. And there it is. There he is. Pretty much in his Dino mode. Dino, he's not spinning. He's so big. All right, let's check out his Dino mode. We can kind of go over here to see the wings here to here. There's a lot of wing going on, but he is stout. His legs can fully support his entire frame there. It's not hit the wall. Man, it's almost 3 foot back. Yeah, this is about a 3 foot table, and it is taking up the whole table almost. That's impressive. And it supports it, probably not made to be moved that much. It'll stand for display just fine, but flipped around too fast like I'm doing probably isn't the smartest thing in the world. I like a tail that comes to a point. I like that tail coming to a point. But yeah, it's huge. And let's get it back on a solid footing and take a good look at it. All right, so I'm going to utilize his wings a bit for support because he's got quite a wingspan there. But he can hold it up. All right, so his neck, I disconnected it, but he's got a little bit of movement in his neck, kind of up and down. Not so much side to side. It can go side to side like this, but not like he's going to look to the left. So he's kind of kind of going like so. He does have an opening beak, which is great. I don't know, a little laser coming out of it or anything, but he's got a beak there. It looks good. Looks good on him. That works. And then wings, you can do a lot with them, but you got a joint here, 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 and here. So it's kind of like 5 joints, and you can bring it in to do sort of a perching kind of pose if you want to. And yeah, if you want. The other thing, I'm not using the waist so much in this mode, but you can do quite a bit with the legs and get a little bit more out of it. And what I want to say is, what I would think would be a good pose would be getting it down like this and having the wings out. And yes, he is quite stable, but it is awkward trying to get him in a pose such as like this and holding up with all the wings. And it's really hard. I think I'm going to do a little bit of shaky cam real quick, because it's hard to truly see how it looks like this. Yeah, that works. Alright, for comparison, I'm just going to put him next to Optimus Prime. It's the Magic Square version, but not just Prime, but let's get into sort of a Beast Wars mode here with the Transart Optimus Primal. And there it goes. So how does that fit? I mean, it's not the same world, really. You're talking G1 versus Beast Wars, and Beast Wars is not part of G1. So there it goes, and yeah, I think it's a pretty good looking pterodactyl mode. Alright, so this is my look at the Cang-Toys Pterhowl, and it looks pretty good. It is impressive with the paint, impressive with the aesthetics. It is very stylized, but at the end of the day, they've done a lot more with it than any G1-esque Swoop is going to get, and they always do that. They always bring the heat when it comes to all of the, I would say, accessories, all of the differences that they put into it. Cang-Toys is definitely way different than anything else that's out there, so it's quite impressive. But I will say that it's going to be a big combiner, because this is just an arm. And I'm not going to put it in arm because, you know, the backlash for this, I wasn't really ready to put this in alt mode, in combine mode, but I did sort of miss a couple points. So I want to make sure I'm fully 100% ready before I put this bad boy into the arm mode. And then with all of that, if I get them all, I will combine them, because that's going to be impressive. But let me know what you guys think about this guy in the comments below. And also, are you in on this? I have a link to Showzy Store where you can get yours. TH and the reviewer go to help the channel out. But don't forget, today's the day, if you're into combiners, because this is a combiner, the Bruticus Magic Square Masterpiece version of Onslaught that makes up the torso is up for order right now. Not even pre-order, straight order. And those things are selling out fast. But let me know about this in the comments. Like, subscribe. Hang her out.